Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sideline Sports. I'm your host, Trevor. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and this is the week we've been waiting for. This is the measuring stick, everybody. Niners Chiefs 125 on Sunday. Let's go, Niners. Let's get it done. We have some injuries, but not many. I have some reports here. Looks like Mason is going to play. So that shoulder injury that he got last week, he's been out, but it looks like Mason is off of the injury report and ready to play on Sunday. We need that because I think the Niners really need to attack that running game a lot more against the Kansas City Chiefs and really show that they can control the pace and the tempo of the game. Of course, giving the ball back to the Chiefs is always a recipe for disaster. We saw it twice in the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs have had our number for the last few years at least. So we really need to get out to a hot start, control the ground game, score early. The Chiefs tend to, against the Niners, really pick up the pace in the third and fourth quarter of the game and kind of take over at those points. So I think the Niners really have to focus on controlling the clock and the tempo of this game as much as they possibly can when you have a quarterback like the Chiefs have on the other side of the ball. So good news is Mason's back. Kind of surprising and good news is Ricky Parcell is actually activated. We might get to see what he is all about in this game. It's going to be really interesting to see that because we are kind of light on wide receivers right now. We have Brandon Ayuk, who has really yet to show up as the superstar he proclaims to be. Obviously, with that $30 million a year contract, we're still not seeing $30 million value on the field from Brandon Ayuk yet. So this would be a really great game for him to come up and take charge and take control of this game. A good breakout game for him. It would be a good breakout game. But on the other side of things, Deebo Samuels, who missed a few practices on the injury list, is off. So we have Deebo Samuels back. So we got some weapons back. George Kittle's okay. He's going to play. So everybody's good. We don't have Christian McCaffrey, still missing in action, of course. He said that this is a game that he couldn't be kept out of, but he's kept out of this game. He's not going to come back. Like I said, guys, Christian McCaffrey, if he comes back at all, which is I'm really skeptical, but if he does, we're looking for, in my opinion, sometime maybe the week after the bye week. That's what I'm thinking. It'll give him enough time to really get up to speed and get that injury healed nicely, if it's going to heal at all. Like I said, when you fly to Germany, said this a million times, you fly to Germany, it's not for something that's going to be week to week or even an injury that can be healed in a month. The doctors here in the United States can see that much. When it's a fly to Germany, it's do I need surgery? And more importantly, not do I need surgery, but when should I be doing the surgery? Can I get through the season and then maybe do surgery? Or is this thing going to break, pop on me any minute? I'm really worried that Christian McCaffrey has an injury that's going to basically take him out for about another year when he starts going full blast. So it would not surprise me in the least if he gets out on the field and within a couple games that thing pops and he needs surgery on his Achilles. I really hope that's not the case, but it seems as though that's the kind of injury he's dealing. Like, remember now with Kevin Durant, he had an injury. That Achilles was ready to go, and it popped in the first game. He came back. The doctor said it would be okay. They thought it wasn't, and he was out another year. Obviously, nowadays, the good news is that with surgeries with the Achilles, players are coming back and being able to play at the same level they did pretty close to before. Maybe not exactly, but pretty close. Kevin Durant is still playing amazing basketball after that injury. So if it does come down to that, I still feel like Christian McCaffrey can come back from that a year later and be one of the best running backs in the league still. But anyway, since he's out, we got Mason, and we should lean on Mason. And we saw Isaac Guerendo come in, and I do think Guerendo got comfortable towards the end of the game when he got a few more plays, and he started busting off some long plays too. He had that one run at the end of the game for 30, 40 yards down the field. almost scored a touchdown. Really think he should have. He slowed down there towards the end of the field, so too bad. I think he could have got his first touchdown. But anyway, with those two guys ready to go, Ricky Purcell, we'll see what he does. Jawan Jennings is out. I'm really frustrated at that. That's really too bad, especially against the Kansas City Chiefs, because he's having one hell of a year, and this is going to set him back a little bit. So I'm really kind of disappointed that Jennings is going to be out for the game. But we have Debo, we've got Kittle, we've got Mason running in the backfield. We've got Garendo coming up and looking pretty good. We've got Brandon Ayuk. We've got a ton of weapons. The key to this game is to control the run game, I believe, 100%. Control the pace of the clock. And defense is going to have to show up, yes. Good thing on the offensive side for Kansas City Chiefs, for us anyway, is that Schuster's out. So with Schuster out, there's not going to be a long ball threat down the field as much because we know how fast he is. But still, I mean, the defense is going to have to show up and give some pressure to the quarterback. It's going to be very difficult how mobile Mahomes is. So they have a real tough day against a tough quarterback, and our defensive line is not very good. So I am worried about how quickly Mahomes might be able to score with all the time that he's going to have available to him, because our defensive line is just not outstanding right now. Our secondary is starting to come together a little bit. I think the secondary is starting to kind of feel it a little bit. So I have some confidence in them at this point. But right now, this is a measuring stick, guys. If we can come out with a win against the Kansas City Chiefs, I mean, Cloud 9, we're going to the rocket. We're going to the moon, man. We're on a rocket, and we're going to the moon. And all of a sudden now the Super Bowl is in sight again for what the 49ers are going to feel like anyway. So this is a big game. If we lose it, it's not the end of the world, as long as we don't get blown out. Okay, so I think right now Niner fans temper expectations, because if we do lose this game, it depends on how we lose it. It depends on the play calling. Kyle Shanahan. This is a big opportunity for Kyle Shanahan to come out and play and call a good game, okay? Because he hasn't played, he hasn't called, I keep saying playing. He hasn't called a game very well this year, I don't believe. Maybe the Seattle game, because he started to get back to the run game a little bit in the second half of the game when he started to see that Seattle was starting to kind of creep into it. So I think there's something in his head that finally clicked that said, hey, I think I should run the ball and control the clock a little bit more. Look how that worked out. We won the game. So I think, again, the run game. The run game, use your tight end, and you know what? Kittle's there. Use him more often to get the chunk yards. Use Deebo Samuels in the backfield more. Just start calling plays where there's some confusion to the defense. Right now, like I said, I think Kyle Shanahan's play calling is very vanilla, and it's really kind of easy for the other teams to figure out what's going on. I don't know why he's calling plays like that. It seems like he's simplifying the offense for some of the players that are not maybe getting it as well. I don't know, because his offense is not particularly easy to come in and learn. So maybe that's part of it. I'm not really sure. But Deebo Samuels knows the drill. Kittle knows the drill. Brandon Ayuk knows the drill. Brock Purdy knows what's going on. Maybe it's for Mason. Maybe I'm not really sure why in the backfield we're not seeing a little bit more motion in the backfield to just change things up and confuse the defense a little bit. I'm not seeing that as much. But either way, the Niners are progressively getting back to form, and that's great, because all this stuff that's happening at the beginning of the season, it's the beginning of the season. If we're firing on all cylinders by week 14, 15, 16, that's exactly where we want to be, and I feel like there is an opportunity there for that to happen. Is the defensive line going to get any better throughout the year? I really don't know. I would love to see a move made for a defensive lineman. I mean, or somebody. I heard rumors of Crosby from the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders are having a fire sale. I don't think that's entirely true. That guy is way too awesome to let go. I mean, if the Raiders let him go, that would be a massive, massive mistake. I mean, I think trading their star wide receiver is kind of a mistake. Just because he wanted a trade doesn't mean you have to, it doesn't mean you have to give him the trade. Maybe work things out and try and figure it out. How can you become a team that goes from a middle of the road 500 team to a Super Bowl contender if every time you have a player that cries, you just trade them away? I don't get it. But anyway, I would love to see Crosby come be a Niner. That would be something else with Bosa and Fred Warner and Crosby. Oh my God, that would change the defense 100%. What you would have to give for that, though, I really don't know. I'm not sure. But that would be cool. I just think it's all smoke and mirrors. I don't believe any of it until I actually see it. That just Crosby's too much of a staple for that defense. So, and obviously we're not getting him this week, even if it was true. But my point being, I'm not really sure if the defense is going to be any better in week 15 than it is right now. It might be slightly better. Is it going to get us to a Super Bowl? I don't know. I don't think it doesn't look like it. I'll say that. It doesn't look like it without making a move. So if I'm the Niners, I would be considering making some kind of a move. But for this game against the Chiefs, it's just a measuring stick of where are we at right now. We've got injuries, and can we play with the Kansas City Chiefs right now with Christian McCaffrey out? Because Christian McCaffrey is the key. He's the sauce that makes it all come together and work, right? He is that ingredient. And without him, the run game lacks a little bit. But I will say Jordan Mason has stepped in and had an outstanding year so far. He's averaging 100 yards a game, I think, and maybe a little less than that just because he had the injury. But he was only kept out of like half the game. Either way, he was trending towards over 100 yards. He had 75 or 79 yards before the injury, and that was in the first half. So as long as he stays healthy, he's on the field, and he's doing what he normally does, which is something I totally expect. And Debo shows up, and we're good on offense. I think the offense can take care of itself. So right now the question mark is, can the defense step up? Can the defense control Mahomes at all? Because he's not a quarterback that is controllable. He's very mobile. He's got a very strong arm. He's very accurate. He's the best quarterback in the league by far. And and maybe of our generation, not excluding Tom Brady, but he's right up there. I mean, he doesn't have as many Super Bowls, obviously, but he's getting there, and he might have, who knows how many he's going to have before he's done with his career. Point being, let's just see where the Niners end up at the end of this game. If we win, I'm going to feel great. And if we lose, I still might feel pretty good about it. And we'll talk about that after the game. It's just a matter of how they play during this game if they do lose. I'm not setting everybody up for a loss, but this is a home game also, so this is to our advantage. So, getting a win out here is definitely not out of the realm of possibility. I think we can play with the Chiefs. There's no doubt in my mind. But it's a matter of what team we're going to get. And this is the game we've been waiting for, right? Because we've been playing some pretty mediocre teams up until this point. Seattle was in first. Now we're in first, tied for first. You can say whatever you want about Seattle. I think they're pretenders. I don't think that they're going to make any more noise than they already have throughout the season. But I could be wrong. When I see that team, they're okay. They're not bad. They're not bad, but they're not on the 49ers level. So to really understand where your team's at, you got to play the best, and the two best teams are playing each other, in my opinion, right now. There are other couple of teams that you can maybe throw in there. The Lions are having an outstanding year. So, I mean, I could kind of throw them. I think the Lions are looking pretty darn good. Other teams that people are talking about being up there in that upper echelon, the Jets, I don't see that. Even with Devontae Adams, I mean, I don't see the Jets being a top-tier team. I still think they're middle of the road at best. I mean, they're going to get better, but that's not going to propel them into Super Bowl contention. I don't believe that. So we're talking about the two teams that are always meeting in the Super Bowl, the Niners and the Chiefs. I think it could happen again this year. I think it's likely to happen this year as long as the Niners get that defensive line. I mean, that's the number one issue I see, that defensive line. If you let the quarterback have all day to throw the football, then you're not going to run away with games very often. and you're going to lose a lot of games that way. So it is a cause of concern. Bosa, to me, is still... I know Bosa does a lot of things outside of sacking the quarterback that make him valuable. I understand that. I mean, he's disrupting the quarterback to the point that he's making those quarterbacks make that bad decisions, throw interceptions. Fred Warner had an interception. Mustafa had an interception. Fred Warner had a couple, actually, and that is because of some of the pressure that they're getting at the quarterback. But Mahomes is a different animal. He's not going to feel that way. And at the end of the day, if you want to win the Super Bowl, you've got to put your hands on Mahomes and make him feel like you're going to be tackling him. Otherwise, and even then, he's not going to be scared. He's not a quarterback. Look at Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy is on the same kind of level as Mahomes, and you can call me crazy if you want. He steps into that pocket, he throws the ball with confidence, and nothing scares him, and he has a good pocket presence. He gets out of that pocket whenever somebody's within a foot or two of him. And Mahomes does the same thing. I mean, they look similar. Mahomes is a little bit more agile and probably has a little bit stronger arm, I'm sure. So they're not equals, but if you take a look at Brock Purdy's numbers this year, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, top three right now. So he's doing it again. So I mean, it's just a matter of the offense is going to take care of itself. Can the defense step up? Can our corners cover the wide receivers? Is Kelsey going to come out there and ruin the Niners' day? That's a big one. Kelsey came in the Super Bowl and didn't do much until the second half and then just was unstoppable. I don't know how we didn't just continue to cover him or double cover him or triple cover him, because he was the difference in winning and losing that Super Bowl for the 49ers. The Niners cover Kelsey a little bit better than they did and stop him from disrupting the entire game, and that's going to make it really, really hard for Patrick Mahomes to win that Super Bowl. So, yeah, both Super Bowls we lost because of the run game, but we also, our defense for some reason allowed Kelsey to run all over the field, and that happened. So we need to figure out, I'm very interested to see if the Niners can figure out how to cover him a little bit better. Of course, he's one of the best tight ends in the league. I'm a homer, so I'm going to say Kittle's a better tight end, and I truly believe Kittle is a better tight end. Kelsey is good, though. He's second best, or if you want to say he's best, you can, but he's one or two. And so he's going to get his catches, but limiting it is something the Niners somehow can't do for an entire 4 quarters. And they've got to play 4 quarters of football to win this game. So, but it's a very exciting game. I've been waiting for it for weeks. I am confident that if the Niners come out and play a good offensive scheme, good offensive play calling, they come out and they play a nice mistake-free game, no penalties or very little penalties on the offensive side, and the defense can play, decent. They don't have to have a stellar game. Just play a good game and keep Mahomes off the field as much as possible, which means really lean on that run game. Really, really lean on the run game to kill the clock and score touchdowns. And when they're in the red zone, the Niners can't abandon the run game, okay? Every time I see the Niners come into the red zone, I'm looking at a team that's abandoning the run game that got them the 60, 70 yards downfield to throw the ball into the end zone for a touchdown. I think this is a massive mistake. They just abandon the run game in the red zone. In the red zone and a little bit outside the red zone, maybe the 30. Somewhere on the 30-yard line, they decide they don't need to run the ball anymore. I don't get it. You lean on the run in that point. Lean on Debo. Get some motion going in the backfield, like I said. And I mean, Kittle's right there. Slant passes. I don't see any slant passes for 5-yard slant passes, quick outs, anything. I mean, they're always looking for something in the middle of the field or down the field. And it's like, when you're in the red zone, you don't need to do that. So I would love to see the Niners turn that around and maybe change that up a little bit. We'll see what they do. But I'm excited for the game. I hope all of you are excited for the game. We're mostly healthy, aside from Christian McCaffrey being out. He's the big one. I mean, Matthew Wright, our kicker, is injured. So the guy we signed is injured, right? So we signed a new kicker because the last kicker got injured. This kicker comes in, decides to throw his body in front of a guy trying to run the ball back and injures his shoulder, and now he's out. So that makes no sense at all that we keep losing kickers. There's only so many that can kick a field goal decently. I know that people think they're a dime a dozen. I mean, there are a lot out there, but not all of them are that reliable. So I don't think losing kickers is a good idea anymore. So if I'm Kyle Shanahan, I'm telling the kicker not to dive in front of the big guy that weighs 220 pounds running the ball back at full speed to see if you can stop that dude. That's not a good idea. So hopefully they don't do that. So anyway, he's out. We got another kicker. So hopefully we don't have to kick too many field goals. Kevin Givens is out. Well, questionable, but he'll probably be out. And I'm really, interested to see what's going on with Ricky Parcell. I mean, can't wait to see him get on the field and see what he can do. We know he's fast. We know that he can catch. We also know he's made of glass. So let's see if he doesn't go out there and get hit 2 or 3 times and get hurt. Let's hope the injuries are behind him and he's good to go. And if that's the case, we might see a rookie, rise up through the ranks pretty quick here, especially with Jennings being out. I don't know how long Jennings is going to be out. A week or two? Maybe after the bye week is when we're going to see the Niners really come together and be healthy. We might see Christian McCaffrey back, Jennings back. We might see some of our defensive guys back. So we'll see how that goes. Mustafa, I'm still high on, so I'm looking for him to really make an impact. Maybe he can sneak out of the game with an interception or something, but I still like Mustafa, and, we'll see how it goes. We're banged up, but we're not as banged up as we used to be. So let's go, guys. Bang, bang, Niner game. Let's get it. This is what it's all about. Niners Chiefs. This is what it's all about. This rivalry. This is the rivalry now. This is it. So everybody needs to get hyped up for this game. I'm hyped up for this game. I'm excited. NFL football. When you're a Niner fan, the preseason and the midseason games can get kind of boring because they're that good. I won't say boring, but you're looking forward to these big matchups. How much did we look forward to that Eagles game last year where we just stomped them, and we're looking forward to this too, to prove a point that this team is not soft and we can hang with Kansas City, and let's see what happens. So I appreciate everybody. Watch out for my live podcast right after the game, the post-game analysis. It won't be right after the game, but it'll be within about an hour of the game, just so I can get my notes ready, of course, so I can speak intelligently about what I saw. But hopefully it'll be all good. But we'll have a lot to talk about either way after that game. So the game, again, Sunday, I believe it's at 1:25, and I'll see you probably around 5 or 6, and we'll talk more about this. And we'll get some Warriors talk going soon. I was out in LA for three and a half days, so I haven't been on the podcast doing anything lately. It's been about a week, so I'm just getting back. But we're going to talk Warriors because that team, the Warriors, got a good team. Their bench is deep. I've been watching the preseason games. I got a lot I want to talk about. I love basketball, so you guys are going to see that. Definitely love the Warriors, and been a long time fan since I was a kid. Even when they weren't good, they were still fun to watch, and watching them when they're good is just, watching Steph Curry is just, it's amazing. It's amazing. And I've seen a lot of players, growing up, I watched Michael Jordan play. As a Warrior fan, I had to watch the Bulls play every time they were on the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. When they played a game, we watched them. And Steph Curry is not Michael Jordan, but he has impacted the game. He's changed the game, and he's fun to watch. He's as fun to watch as watching Michael Jordan, just about. And I can't say that about any other player, including LeBron in the NBA. He's just, it's a blast to watch him. But this team is looking much better. They're going to be focusing a lot on defense. They've got a couple of offensive guys that are stepping up now. They got a 7-footer. He's a rookie. Looks like he's going to be something good eventually, maybe not right off the bat. But we're looking at other guys who are stepping up. Kuminga's stepping up. So he's looking like he's taking another step forward in his career and might be able to just start really having a breakout season finally. It's his time to shine a little bit as well. Draymond's back. I think that Draymond's going to play just as good as he always has. Last year, he had a exceptional year, aside from his meltdowns and suspensions. But when he was playing some of the best basketball he's played. So we got a lot of people to talk, a lot of players to talk about with the Warriors, and we'll talk about them too. But for now, guys, let's go Niners. See you Sunday. Let's go. Let's get it. And remember, hard work beats talent when talent don't work. Let's get it.